All right, good morning, folks, and welcome to another edition of Friday Morning Live. Today's date is October 10th, 2025, and we are excited to bring in some more special guests to help independent agents and FAIA members navigate the world of technology with our friends from Catalyit. So I want to go through a few things before we bring the team from Catalyit on. Just a reminder, there's yours truly. And web-based learning, we continue to add content each week for webinars and webcasts to help agents from an educational standpoint, but certainly recommend going into our education calendar and see what's coming up and take advantage of those particular courses that can help you and your team. National ABIN Day, October 16th. Still time to register for that. Recommend that's 5 hours of continuing education, free to all FAIA members. So certainly recommend. And this year's theme is kind of Halloween theme. It's all about things that will scare you a little bit. Some of the stories are pretty interesting, but again, it's free to FAIA members. And so we encourage you to get on the website and go ahead. There's a link there showing on the screen. And this is what it looks like once you go in there. It's the horror stories, true tales from the industry. So it's 3 different classes, 5 hours of CE. So certainly have fun with that. And then we'll bring in our friends from Catalyit here in a sec. Upcoming shows. Citizens will be on the 24th of October. Then on November 14th, we'll have Lauren Beege on doing a legislative preview. As many of you know, our session starts in January this year. And so Lauren Beege will provide some context to that. And then following that, one of our preferred partners, Patriot Select, will be on talking about how they are helping independent agents in today's environment with the market. So as we transition, I'm going to ask our friends from Catalyit to come in. I got to find them first. Here we go. There's Marit. I'm going to make Marit. Where'd you go? I'm going to make you the presenter, Marit.
Good.
And it should show up on your side, and you should be able to accept it. And then at that point, show your screen. There we go.
The right screen. I'm not sure what you see yet. Here we go. All right, let me just get the right screen showing, if you don't mind. Here with me.
But while Mark's doing that, we're getting closer.
Wrong slides. Here we go. I'm getting there.
Yeah. But as we are doing, just to encourage throughout today's presentation with Marit Peters and her team, certainly encourage questions. So if you have questions throughout the broadcast, please put them in the question pane, and we'll answer as many as we can during the live broadcast. And then anything off air, we'll get those answered to you. So.
Bear with me. I'm real sorry about this.
Sounds a lot echoey.
Oh.
You find it?
I'm close.
Bear with us, folks. We'll get there. But this is an exciting presentation from our friends from Catalyit and what's going on there from a technology standpoint, but also the compensation study. We'll talk about that as well.
I'm close. I'm really close, I promise.
There we go. We're getting there.
All right. I think we're good.
Okay.
Can we see that now?
I can see it.
All right.
Without further ado, Marit Peters. Welcome, Marit.
Well, thank you very much. Sorry about that. We were having some technology
we apologize.
challenges trying to prep. So truly, when you say Friday Morning Live, this is as live as it gets. So thank you for having us.
It is.
We did joke a little bit about being a tech firm. We shouldn't be having technology issues, but that's all right.
That's true.
Thanks for having me. I think I've met a lot of you all when I was out there earlier this year in June, and I've got with me today Casey Nelson, who's our Director of Consulting. Do you want to say hi for a minute there, Casey?
Yes, hi, good morning, everybody. Happy to be here and ready to talk Catalyit, fun stuff.
Great. Well, Casey's been with us for just almost a year and a half now, so it's been quite a whirlwind. So what we're going to do is give you a little bit of an update here on a variety of things that are going on, and very excited about what we've developed. We've even got new things even this last week. So if you haven't been on the website recently, I hope that today you'll go play around and get a good look at it. But the first thing I just want to make sure everybody is clear about is this is a benefit that's free for you as an FAIA member. And it's an investment that your association has made in you all to make sure that you've got resources that are available to help you with decision making on technology and how to maximize what you have. So regardless of who we talk to at the end of the day, we know that people are looking for ways to make technology just a little bit easier to understand. And so that's our ultimate goal at the end of the day, is help you understand what insurance tech is, help you make decisions, help you maximize the resources. And one of the things we want to make sure we do is we want to make sure that you don't feel like you're trying to solve technology solutions alone. We know there's a lot of shiny pennies out there. And so that's one of the great things about Casey and his team when he's working with you, is to not try and have you do everything, but to focus on essentially think about crawl before you walk, before you run. Because there's certainly technology rolling out on a daily basis. And today we're even going to talk a little bit about AI. As you know, that's obviously the hot topic, and new solutions are just coming down all the time. All right, so when we talk about using us, let us guide you so you can focus on your clients. We know about tech, you know about insurance, you know how to deal with your clients and take care of them. So we want to make sure that you're spending time being the hero for them and let us solve it for you. So if you haven't been on the Catalyit site, there's a variety of programs that are on there that are available to you. And so one of the things that we're going to talk about today is the new tech assessment. And if you haven't taken it recently, we would certainly want you to get on there and do it. We're close to turning on the analytics. So once you get the analytics, you'll be able to actually dig even deeper in there. But let's talk for a minute, Casey, about some of the pieces that are on our website that folks can go look at. So we have the success journey, and I'm going to flip one slide, Casey. Do you want to talk through what this success journey is and what people will get when they complete the tech assessment? And then we'll come back for a minute and talk about the other tools that people can research.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. So the screenshot here on the screen is from a completed tech assessment. So when an agency does take advantage of the tech assessment, which only takes about 10 minutes, it's not a terribly long time commitment. We ask a series of questions about the types of technology that the agency uses, and also how well the agency thinks they're using those pieces of technology, and it compiles this report for you based on those responses. We've tried to categorize the different technologies into those three buckets: the baseline bucket, and then better and beyond. And then underneath those, you see a listing, a series of topics there with either yellow check marks or red or green. And those are all indicative of both, does an agency use that type of program, and how do they feel about it? So it's a nice kind of checklist, or like we say, roadmap, that you get right off the bat to help you identify maybe some areas where either you're not leveraging the technology that you have because you don't like it, or maybe some pieces of technology that you haven't explored yet that might be beneficial to your tech stack. So this is a really helpful tool for an agency to have access to themselves, but also for me, it's wonderful because when I do have an opportunity to jump on a consulting call with an agency, this is really my game plan for that discussion. We can talk about those any areas where there are deficiencies or maybe frustrations, and then also we can talk about different pieces of technology that may be able to solve pain points or bottlenecks within the agency. So this is a really, really helpful tool. And once the analytics is enabled, anyone who's completed the tech assessment could go back and get theirs, their roadmap, and certainly anyone who takes a new tech assessment would have access to this as well.
Great. Casey, can you talk a little bit? You mentioned doing consulting, but when you do the tech assessment, you get a free consult with you, right? You want to talk about what that looks like a little bit for folks?
Yes, absolutely. And that's exactly right. So when an agency does complete the tech assessment, they get an opportunity to schedule that initial call. And 30 minutes goes fast. But what we try to do is we try to go through any specific pain points that the agency may have mentioned when completing the tech assessment. There's actually a question on the tech assessment that asks for, what are you trying to solve for? What pain points are you experiencing? But then in addition to that specific response, I can look at this. So this tech assessment, I could just kind of go through it as an example. I would say, it doesn't look like you're in love with your management system, and you're also not using a CRM. So those are kind of like the two quick hitters that I would see right off the bat to talk about what kind of processes exist in the agency and how a CRM may be able to solve them. And then also maybe we could get them in touch with someone who is an agency management system, whichever management system they use, is an expert in that particular program, and really try to help them get more out of it, which is ultimately our goal, is to not necessarily try to change someone's tech stack, but first and foremost, to find ways to help them get more production, more efficiency out of what they're already using. So we would go, in some cases, item by item here, trying to talk about different solutions that we are aware of that we think may be helpful to them. And also trying to, in some cases, even jump into their systems right on the call. If it's a very specific issue, sometimes we can try to give them some guidance and give them some solutions right on the call to walk away and feel a little bit better about their technology.
So, one of the things that we've designed this program to be, if you took the tech assessment a couple years ago, even, it was a different platform. Now we've enabled it through a platform called Enable. And so what we're hoping is people will use this as an ongoing dashboard. So as you upgrade things and you make the decisions and you go from being a baseline to a better to a beyond organization, you've always got this really nice architectural dashboard, right, Casey, that says, here's where you're at, here's maybe the next step. You might make some strategic decisions that you don't want to do something in one of the categories. But we want this to be a roadmap that people continue to come back to, update. They don't have to enter it again over and over, right? So it's in there, and now you're just modifying. And one of the pieces that you'll talk about in a little bit too is that we're also collecting financial data, so you can look at just what am I paying for, and is it in alignment with potentially what my peers are as well. So let's walk through just for a minute kind of the ease of going through the assessment. We got a couple pages here. Let's have you talk a little bit about what questions are being asked, and then we'll talk about what the analytic tool will look like when that turns on.
Absolutely. So this particular screenshot is an example of one of the, I can't remember how many there are, but a series of questions where we're going to ask, in this case, about your accounting system. And it's simple, yes, no, are you using an accounting system? And if you click no, the other questions on the screen do not appear. But if you click yes, then we want to know what accounting system are you using. So we like to track which ones are being used by agencies, so that data can be used in the analytics, which we'll show you in just a minute. We also want to have you give a rating so that we can understand your satisfaction. Is the program working for agencies or is it not? Also, the annual cost for the accounting system. This is an estimate, right? We don't want this to slow people down, but we do want to know, just in general, what is the market charging for agencies for particular services? And then the second to last question there about integrations. Really, whenever possible, we're hoping to encourage agencies to integrate their systems so that there are fewer points of entry in terms of data and having to, move data, copy or retype it from platform to platform or system to system. And so that's a really important question for us, in addition to any outsourcing. So outsourcing could be, you may have virtual employees that are part of your accounting process. You may have automated outsourcing or even AI outsourcing in a lot of cases. So these are the questions that would be pretty standard for all of the different varieties or categories of insurance technology. And this is all that we ask. So it doesn't take too terribly long.
Let's
Yes.
talk through what this is. Go ahead.
Right. So this is the data that we showed a couple slides ago is only going to be displayed from the agency information that they submitted. This screen, however, shows us some comparison information that is really helpful for agencies because it shows you both what you answered for your agency and also then compares it to the aggregate. So in most cases, a lot of agencies do use a management system. So this screenshot was from an earlier session of the tech assessment. But if we went down to like the VoIP accounting, or sorry, the VoIP management phone system, a lot of agencies still don't use a VoIP phone system. So if you were an agency that needed help with that, you could come down here and look and see that, oh yeah, you know, almost 80% of agencies are currently using a VoIP solution, but you maybe are not. And if you wanted more information, you could actually click into where it says VoIP phone management system, and you would be able to then see, in addition to knowing that you're part of the minority that does not use one, you'd actually be able to see which phone solutions agencies are using. And beyond that, you could even drill down and filter the results to know what types of phone system an agency uses in your state specifically. So you just look at agencies from Texas, or agencies from Florida, I should say, excuse me. And then you could even drill down further into saying which phone systems do agencies in Florida use if they use my same management system, which is probably a really important example because that might indicate to you which phone systems integrate with your management system, which is another thing we would strongly encourage. So this can give you a ton of information. We also have similar structures or tabs within the analytics section for AI usage. We have it for cybersecurity and also some integrations. So there's a ton of interactive information. And as Marit mentioned, we don't want agencies to need to complete this every single year, but we would like them to update it every single year. So that's a nice part of the Enable platform, is that agencies could annually just go in and update information. And it would be a quick and easy way to make sure that the accuracy of the data is always where we want it to be. Oh, yes. And this is an example of the breakdown slide. So this is for accounting systems. So if you were looking for an accounting system because you didn't have one, or maybe even you're just frustrated with the one you have, if you clicked into that management or the accounting system label from the prior screenshot, you'd be able to see, oh, okay, I can see that QuickBooks seems to be, you know, the most popular right now among agencies. And you could then investigate that one, or really identify any that are there based on their market share, and see which ones you think might be a good fit for your agency.
Great. Casey, we do a lot of strategic planning with agencies, and we found that this being an annual process in your budget cycle, right, to like clean it up, check in where you're at, make it part of your plans, has been a really helpful go-to resource. So hopefully folks will do this now. We'll talk a little bit about a program we have at the end of the month, and if you do this before that, then you'll be able to actually walk through it as part of a tech stack presentation that will be available through the Get Lit program. But this is what's really exciting to me too, right, is starting to see integrations and us learning really in a more meaningful way who's integrating, what's integrating. As you mentioned, people in the analytic tool will be able to go in and say, based on my agency management system, what are people integrating and what tools are they specifically using? Can you talk a little bit about that component?
Yes, absolutely. And this particular screen of this screenshot of the analytics tab is functional from two directions. It's functional from the management system that you indicated you use, and it's also functional from the CRM that you may use. And not every agency uses a CRM, but both the CRM and management system tend to be really like the hub, or like the center spoke of the integration wheel of an agency. So that's why we built it this way. And you'd be able to then look at this chart and see that, you know, for example, 75% of agencies that use this same management system as you then also integrate their text messaging through their management system. So you'd be able to very quickly say, oh, well, my agency's not doing that. I didn't know I could. Now that kind of leads you down a path of efficiency to identify maybe not all of these, but certainly you could go item by item and say, oh, I didn't know that any of these integrations were possible, or maybe some of them. And you could say, would these be helpful to my team? And if they are, now you've started down the road of trying to figure out ways to make your team more efficient and more effective in ways that you may not have been prior, aware that those things even existed. So that's where we can also help on the consulting side. Is you may not know how to set up these integrations or where to go to be able to get them established, and that's where we want to help guide you to not get stuck into endless Google search or go down a rabbit hole yourself. Spending all that time that you need to probably spend running your agency and selling business, we'd be able to help you identify which solutions specifically can be a part of these integrations and which ones might be most beneficial to your agency.
Great. Thank you, Casey. One of the things when I think back about building Catalyit and creating it with several other states and deploying it is we've always said this would be a resource that is agent friendly. So it's really agent focused and the decisions that you want to make. And instead of it feeling like, oh, I wonder who's sponsoring and so they're going to get promoted the most with the team, you really are getting some guidance that says what's best for you. And I think that's probably one of the most complicated things, right, Casey, is the question is, what should I do? And it always leads with, it depends.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's us getting to know who you are. If you're calling in for a consult and you want to get some advice, the first thing we'll always ask is put in your information so we know you, we can see you, and then we can work with you directly in a more customized fashion. As we get into guides and reviews for a second, I do want to touch on this. Obviously, Casey's our director of consulting. You'll see on the website, we've got a really nice bench of consultants that can help you. So depending on what your core agency management system or what integration you're working to do or how to maximize your workflows and your operations, we have a team that really does know a lot of the programs out there. So we'll find the right person for you in that. We have an annual State of Tech report that gets published. So that is actually a really great way for you to actually go and see what's happening year over year in the industry. But the biggest change has now been is we're doing the State of Tech, but the integration and the analytics you have now makes it go from sort of a flat report to an interactive report, which I think is going to be a really great game changer for all of you. We have a million, I say a million, it's several hundred solution providers that are profiled. Casey, you want to talk a little bit about how we've designed that for folks so that people can drill in? I like to always say, this is probably archaic now to say it at this point, but I kind of use Catalyit like Google. So anytime somebody asks me about some tech, I just go there and search it. And what does it tell us when you're able to go and dig in there, Casey?
Yes. So the guides and reviews, I think I'll start with the reviews first. So each solution provider is researched and vetted. We have a lot of conversations with them about their both offerings and integrations, security, all different things that we know are really important to agents. And we try to put that information all into their solution provider page without making it feel salesy. We certainly don't want anybody to feel pressured to buy anything. We just want it to be nonpartisan information about that specific solution provider, what they offer, and then also some resources like if we've done any videos with them, coffee chats, hot topics, so you can learn a lot more about what that solution provider does without necessarily having to go to Marit, like Marit said, to Google or to a user group Facebook page and something like that, because those can be great sources of information, but they can also have a lot of ulterior motives, I guess we should say. So we've built out a ton of information, and it's constantly being refreshed about those solution providers. And then the guide section is designed to really kind of consolidate different solution providers within one specific field or one specific service offering. So On the screen, we have everything from starting an agency, which it's going to pull in different vendors from different segments, but benefits and quoting, AI, agency management systems, of course, is always a big one because it's such an important part of the agency tech stack. But you'd be able to click into any of those guides and you'd be able to see our reviews and information, or rather suggestions about not vendors specifically, but hey, what do you need to think about when you pick a management system or change management systems? What are some of the trends? What things are happening? And then in many cases, especially with the management system guide, there's also tables and grids where you can really compare and contrast features between management systems very quickly, and really get a good idea of if you have a must-have list or a red flag list for your management system features and characteristics. You'd be able to identify those very quickly and hopefully get the information you need to really narrow down your candidates quickly without having to do a bunch of extra work.
And we went and looked at, in Florida, the 3 most popular and most viewed guides are AI, which I'm going to cover here briefly so you can see what that looks like, starting an agency, which is up there in the top left, and then quoting platforms on the personal line side. So those have been the most popular ones so far in this past year as we've rolled this out here in Florida. So that's interesting in and of itself. So imagine you get into here and you go into guides and reviews, and as you drill in to AI, for instance, it'll always lead with sort of the basics and some information. This is fun. This one actually just got updated and refreshed even in the last week, so please go dig around in there a little bit. It'll walk through and sort of go through some fundamentals for you to understand. What I like here then is it starts to talk even about real world use cases. So Casey, can you talk a little bit about that for me, and then we'll drill down just a little deeper on the AI guide.
Yes, absolutely, especially in the AI guide, but in other guides as well. The real world use cases are critical because some of these solution providers can do so many things. They especially in the AI case, they're adding functionality, it seems like weekly, and it can be very difficult to really keep up with it. Or in some cases, if you go to the solution provider website, and I'm not trying to be ugly, but it can be really hard to identify what they do because they do so many things. So we want to provide real world use cases. We know that agents really appreciate understanding how other agencies may be leveraging a tool in a very specific way so that they can kind of envision, how they might use that and implement that solution within their agency. So we understand that that's a really important part of picking a solution or identifying if a solution in that area is even necessary. So we've spent a lot of time trying to make sure that those use cases are functional, available, and really helpful to agents.
Great. Also with AI, and in this, I think there's also advice for agents on, policies for AI, because that's a critical part. But just dipping your toe in AI, there's some really critical things you need to think about when you're looking at contracts, when you have policies with your staff and so forth. So this is a great place to go in and dig into it. We also talk about prompts. And this is kind of a fun part. I think in the prompt area, there's a place called Meta Prompt, which you can click into. And I just learned about that recently, where I know prompts are difficult for some people, like what do I actually say? And this tool actually lets you say, this is what I want to say, and then it helps you draft it in a more meaningful way. I don't know how often you use that, Casey.
Well, yes, I definitely have learned a lot about prompting and prompt structure through our research at Catalyit and the different solution providers we talk to. And then also while I'm talking at conventions, I end up bringing it up quite a bit. And a lot of people are not necessarily familiar with how to prompt AI on their own, whatever tool they're using. So it's really a good resource for people to check out so that they can, even just in their personal use, not just business use, they can get more out of and better results from the different tools that they're implementing.
Right, good. So as you continue to dig down into the AI thing, we talk about, what agencies are using, but we also know people, right? You as individuals have personal use as well. So you can kind of go down and look through the type of tools, what it does. This is a huge laundry list at the end of the day. But this is a new conversation that we're having now with agents. And we're going to actually have a workshop in October that helps people think not only what am I doing as far as my tech stack on a business level, but what's my personal tech stack? Kind of like you mentioned just a minute ago, Casey, right? Like people actually use different tools for managing their own lives and their own family pieces and, you know, keeping organized and all the different varieties. So I think that you'll find there's a really interesting tool list here, and you can dig in and learn more and more about that. So it feels like, is there like a new tool that comes out every single day, Casey? Isn't it crazy?
It is. It's either a new tool or a new feature within an existing tool. Very much every day is totally reasonable. Yeah.
Yeah, good. So we mentioned that we have a program coming up. This is a free show that will be October 28th, 29th, and 30 from 11 to 2 Eastern time. And I'm going to walk through what those programs look like. It's an interactive set of programs. We're going to give you a QR code here in a minute where you can register for it. And I'm sure Dave will send out information later as well. But imagine that we kick off on October 28th with sort of thinking about changing your mindset. You know, one of the things, as you all probably are well aware, is helping our employees adopt, accept and adopt technology can be a challenge. And so what can you be doing within your organization to make being tech forward and tech adoption be part of the culture and reinforce it on a regular basis? So I'm going to do a workshop here that really helps us challenge our mindset. What are some activities you can do with your employees? How do you really embed automation, efficiencies, productivity, and quality work into your employee base? And really continue to level them up so they can be critical thinkers and working with their with your clients. And then we'll get into, you know, the brutal truth about your agency tech. So Casey's going to help us walk through that, and that's the mindset around your technology as an agency. But then you can see this next one down here starts to talk about what am I actually doing from a personal standpoint. So that's sort of day one, kind of level setting, frankly, kind of like what we would call baseline. And then the next day, it starts to get into AI. This is a great one at the top. And this is a fantastic one that Agents for the Future is doing with Liberty Mutual. We've seen this a couple times. It's such a great, tangible way to be thinking about how to use AI in your agency and in your work every single day. So hopefully you and your employees will attend that. And then we're going to get nitty gritty here about like, how are we actually using it? I think I've heard somebody say, you know, actually people talk a lot about AI, but using it isn't as prevalent, right? Casey, I think people talk more than they do. Is that fair?
I think it's fair. Absolutely.
But if you're doing anything, you're probably ahead of the game at this point. So it's like learning the tools, being really careful with them. And then our Angela Ford on our team is going to do a tech up with you guys and really go through a must-do checklist. This is a great process to be looking at on an annual basis. It helps you think through security, efficiencies, growth, and so on. So that'll be a program. So you think about like you should be able to walk away with actionable things at the end of each of these sessions. And then on Thursday, we're going to get more into beyond. So it's like we're going to do, I love this, Jason First, our COO, always refers to sort of brainstorm sessions as jam sessions, which I think is kind of fun. But we're going to have some people on that are going to be a little provocative, challenge ideas with each other, debate a little bit how we do it. Because, you know, it's nothing like a friendly debate, right, Casey, to keep us lively. That's right. And then we're going to actually do 101 Weston Labs is going to actually feature some of the new tech that's rolling out right now. And so we're going to go through that and have people talk a little bit about that. And at the very end, we're going to wrap up with a very specific, okay, you heard a lot of things. What are the couple things that are really going to make an impact to your organization? And then you jump off it. So this, we hope that it'll be action. We know it'll be action packed. There's some fun stuff. We've got some cameo appearances, some activities going on, but it's designed to be get in, learn a few things, get out. And so if you're interested in registering, please save your spot now. There is limited seating. But we want you guys to get in there. So I would take a picture of this. Obviously, if you go to the Catalyit.com site, you can also just go up to Get Lit and register itself. But I'm pretty excited about this lineup. What do you think, Casey? As we built it, kind of shaped out nicely, huh?
Oh, yes, I'm super excited. I think that anyone who attends, I think you'll get a lot out of it. I think it'll be useful information and hopefully something that you can implement, or at least start to think about ways that you can implement within your agency really quickly. That's really the goal, is to be able to give people the ability to take action as fast as possible, or as whatever timeline, I guess, that they feel comfortable with. And that's been the intentionality between, all of the different, the planning that we put into it, and the experience we have going to so many different conventions in person has really helped out too.
Great. Good. So one of the things that we're also doing is we're helping facilitate a compensation survey, that study that's going on right now. Florida's, you guys are actually in the lead as far as number that have been completed at this point. But what we know are the two major spends that an organization has is technology and people. And so starting to collect that and getting a more holistic picture of that, I think is going to be able to help us provide more insights going into the future years and helping people from a planning perspective. Because right now, you may decide I need this function done, but it doesn't always mean it's a human that will do it. And in fact, it's becoming more and more tech focused at this point. So we are shifting over to that. So let me talk about this for just a minute. If you have not completed the compensation study yet, we're asking that everybody get on board and get this done. This is going on over the next month or so, and then the analytic tool will turn on. This is extremely unique from other programs that you had. First of all, we call it Compensation 360 because it's not just looking at comp, but it's also looking at benefits and so forth. It's going to ask questions around outsourcing, what you're doing from a standpoint of remote work trends, and then also staffing forecasts for 2026. We know that making decisions right now about hiring people and compensation, we don't have its current set of data as we'd like. We know we're competing with people in different towns and different states because, frankly, if you have a remote workforce, geography is no longer an issue. So what we've done is we've spent the time investing in and making sure that we have a really nice set of a program. We've got almost 40 states participating, and then we are obviously have built this on the Enable platform, so certainly taking very seriously the security levels, because we know you're entering information that is highly confidential. So we want to make sure that we built it on something that you can trust. And we want to make sure that you also know that this is only for members of Big I. So for FAIA, non-members can't participate. And if you want to see the results and the analytics, you do need to participate. So you help us, we'll help you is kind of the concept here. And so this is FAIA's program that's been launched with 38 other states, okay? What's exciting is it's not gonna just deliver a report at the end, which we've seen those from other publications, which many of you probably look at on an annual basis. What this is gonna allow you to do is actually drill in and get more specific. So you can filter it based on size of agency, what are people paying and what roles are there, what are the trends from that standpoint. Obviously it'll be state and region. We're shooting for about 200 surveys being complete just in Florida alone. So the goal is 2,000 across the country. We have about 600 in at this point. You guys have 50. We need to get you to 200. So please get in there and start filling in your information. It is confidential and secure. We will be looking then at actual insights to bring that back from a standpoint of what we can learn from it going into this next year and in your planning models. We know compensation can sometimes feel quite emotional, right? And so we want people to be armed with good data to tell you what you're competing with out there in the marketplace. The survey has launched. We're halfway through, so we've got over 100 that are in progress there in Florida. So we know we're headed towards the 200 mark, but if you haven't started yet, please get in there and get yourself registered. If you get stuck, just go to the Catalyit site and it'll help you email, and the customer service has been fantastic. I think Jason first was talking to Florida folks the other day, and if there's one thing we've done well, which I think we've done a lot, but the customer service has been fantastic. So if you get stuck, please just reach out and we'll help you out. It's launched. We're going to close the data collection at the end of October, and then we will have a powerful set of analytics available to you starting at some point in November once we make sure that we've quality checked everything and it's ready to go. So those are key to do. All right, so as we wrap up today, we just want to remind you all that, you know, this Catalyit subscription is a member benefit through FAIA. It includes the tech assessment that we've talked about, so please make sure you use it. Check out the guides and the solution providers. We have a marketplace now, so if you want some exclusive discounts in your purchases, that will continue to build as we go. The Tech Tips has been an amazing tool, so that comes out on a weekly basis, and I think our open rate's like 40-some%, which is crazy when you know about open rates. But obviously what that means is we're reaching people on resources and tools that make sense for them, that are practical, that they can use every day in their work. We've obviously got live sessions that go on a regular basis, and really rich on-demand bolts. So anytime we do demos and programs like that, that's all archived. So you can go check those out. So if you miss something, you know that it'll be available to you. Obviously, we've got some discounts for you on consulting projects because of you being an all member in with us. Sometimes tech terms are great to learn. Just there's so many new words. I know I just figured out something the other day that I'm embarrassed about, so I probably won't tell you. Learning that a bot came from robot. I know, that's so embarrassing. Casey, can you believe that?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Really embarrassing. I had this moment where I was like, bot, oh, a robot. I bet there's at least one person on this call that just learned that from me today. I'm just saying. Check out the annual State of Tech. Make sure that if you need some support, you reach out to us, and then certainly make sure that you attend the Get Lit conference show here at the end of the month. And then obviously the agency comp is forefront of mind. So as we wrap up, Casey, I know I'm kind of throwing this at you, but do you have a story this year of somebody that you worked with, something that wasn't necessarily overcomplicated, but you know it really made a difference by just spending a consult time with you and or using you on a retainer basis to help people not feel so alone, that they've got a friend when they're making decisions that they can validate?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, it was somebody just last week, maybe the week before, that I met at the Young Agents event in Nashville for the Big I National, and we connected, and then got back and got a LinkedIn message from her that she was struggling with something with her CRM, and sounded kind of urgent. We jumped on a quick call. We looked at her tech assessment, identified what she was talking about, and we were actually able to fix the problem. She was having a data issue where her management system and her CRM were overwriting each other, and she couldn't figure out why. And we were able to correct the issue, fix the workflow, and they were back up and running in about 25 minutes. So that was a really fun one. They're not always a 25-minute fix, but certainly they can be. And we really do enjoy the opportunity to, like you mentioned, Marit, the long-term coaching or even short-term coaching, just so that agency owners don't have to feel like they're learning the tech and implementing the tech and training their team all at the same time while they're also running their business. It's a really rewarding thing, and it's a lot of fun, and I think it makes a big difference for the agencies that take advantage of it.
Great, thank you. Yeah, when I think about Catalyit, I would just recommend for those of you on the call to please, like anytime technology comes up, just open the Catalyit site and peruse it and see what's there. And if you can't find it, you can email us at hello@catalyit.com and say, hey, I'm busy, can you look into this tech for me? And we've got a team that will do that. So you don't have to spend your time doing that. That's why we're here to help things make it a little bit easier for you. So Casey, thank you for spending the morning with us. I very much appreciate it.
Of course, I'm happy to be here. Always happy to talk to our friends in Florida, and look forward to making it to an FAIA event sometime soon.
Great, good. Well, Dave, I think that's us wrapping up. And if you have any questions, or if you wanted us to,
I've got a couple for you, okay. Marit. Can you tell the members on the compensation study, how long does that normally take? What have you found on a time commitment for an agency to complete the survey?
I mean, I think to be fair, first of all, it depends on how big you are. But if, let's say you're on this, less than 20 employees, it's probably going to take you, I would guess, half an hour to an hour, maybe. It's going to ask you some details, right? So there's some thought process that you've got to go in because it's going to talk to you about your benefits stuff. So it's really comprehensive. If you've got more than 20 employees, there is a spreadsheet that we would have you upload instead of manually entering each employee's compensation. But on that note, as you're entering the compensation, we don't want you to put their names. Just make it a code so that next year when you go and update it, you know who employee 1, 2, 3, or whatever your maybe of identity numbers and so forth. But it does take a minute. I wouldn't say it's the fastest thing, but obviously the smaller you are, the less data you're entering. And then for some of you, you might have some positions that are a blend, so it may take a little bit of thought.
Yeah, just keep that in mind. Again, there may be some information you can prepare for before you complete it. I'm just curious, Marit, can you stop and start the process, or is it all in? Once you start it, you have to complete it during that session?
No, in fact, I'm doing it for our agency that we have right now, and I got halfway through it, and then when it started to get into more of the details that I didn't have, I just paused, and I can go back and start it anytime. And you'll also get prompts. So if you go in there and get started and then you haven't finished it, there are regular reminders of come back and finish so you don't totally forget. Because if you're like me, there's moments where life is a little bit of a squirrel and you forget that you got to go back. So we'll help you. And if you get stuck, somebody can get on a phone call with you and help you walk through where you're stuck.
Okay. And then once the report is rendered, you talked about potentially November. Those that completed the report, what are the benefits of them after November?
So it will be live interactive analytics that will be available from now on. So anytime you want to go in and do some planning, you can update it, but we'll continue to keep it live after we sort of do that first blush, Dave. So it will be a tool that will be in perpetuity, so to speak, and we'll do a push, on an every other year basis to have people go back and update it. If you don't complete it, you won't be able to access those analytics.
Okay.
So it should be a great planning tool for folks that is live and interactive, and then you can drill down. So let's say I'm looking at a region and there's enough data that maintains anonymity, right? You could say, well, now I'm trying to hire in Miami, let's say, versus Gainesville. You can actually go drill into either, rural versus urban, and all those pieces. So it's something that will be live for a long time.
And Marit, last question on this point is, what if you don't meet the deadline? You're closing it at the end of October, but agents say, I just didn't have the time or didn't have the thought process to complete it. What can they do after October, the end of October?
It will reopen for live work. So I think it'll just be a matter of waiting for us to say, okay, now that we've made sure we feel good about the data clean, people can be able to go back in and get engaged at that point. So we really want people the more data that comes along, the richer it is, right? So there's probably just a moment in time, Dave, and then we'll reopen.
Okay, yeah, just again, we prefer anybody on the call, and certainly we've sent out a lot of information about this. Please try to complete it by the end of October, so it gets into that initial database. But after that, like Marit said, they'll reopen it, and you can certainly put more information in there for your agency. So I will send out. Jason was kind enough to send several of the links in the question pane. We'll make sure we get those out to everyone, and certainly the Get Lit episode that's coming up at the end of the month, or the presentations. Certainly encourage you highly to attend. If you can't attend all of them, attend at least some of them. Pick and choose and get in there and really listen to these conversations about tech and what the future looks like. We've had a lot of discussion internally, and I know every agency and every association has about AI. So that is going to be also an interesting how that develops over time. So want to thank Jason and Casey and Marit for being here today, talking to us about Catalyit and what's available to FAIA members. And look forward to you all working with us on other projects. And yes, Casey, we'll get you to FAIA soon. So, but
awesome. That's great.
Yep.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Yep. And all right, folks, that's it for Friday Morning Live. Enjoy the weekend. A lot of good football this weekend, college and pro. So enjoy yourself, stay safe, and we'll see you for another episode of Friday Morning Live. Take care.